This week, we just want to start by thanking everyone that came to the open house. Even if the weather wasn't the best, the company was great. We love getting to share the project through these videos, but sharing it in person and getting to take folks through the boatyard is an experience that we look forward to every year.
It is going as a silent auction. So that is in the boathouse. That is going to go soon. So if you guys want to get on there.
You can see Chloe for a t-shirt.
So continuing on working for the floors that are going to hold the engine beds. So yesterday Steve was working on cutting out the sockets that are down here. Let's see if I can get a shot of these. So there's one where I got one of the base plates and the two wings are going to come right down to there. So we're going to weld those together. Down here, this is the one that I'm going to be working on right now. So I've got the base plate all cut out and I'm just going to be chiseling away, trying to figure out how to get this guy to sit in there properly. Because basically we took out a little bit more from the top since they sit angled like this, and I got to get them to sit flush underneath. And this shape isn't going to be exactly the same shape as the plywood that Steve was using. So while Steve is cutting out some of the wings for me to shape later, I'm going to try to figure this out right here. Alright, about an hour later and some skim knuckles, and she seems to be fitting pretty well. There's no rock or anything, totally solid. So that place plate is ready to go. She's got a little wiggle this way, but that's not a big deal. And the wings will come down over here, and next is trying to build these wings up, which are going to be pretty large. They're almost, I don't know, good 10 inches longer than what we've been putting in the center. So finding the twist on those might be a little bit of a challenge. Before getting to the wings, I needed to get the final shape on this base plate. We removed one of the ribbons to give me a little bit better access for bending the wings. That made it much easier.
So I'm working on the floors in the stern right now, and as we've been saying, those are the floors that are going to be holding up the engine beds, so they're really important. They need to be really strong. They go up a significant ways up the frames, and it's been a struggle to get those done. So I've only got this little A-frame press, which makes it really difficult to get any twist in the wings, and so far I haven't really figured out any better way to do that. Basically, if you think about it, when the frame goes up, to keep the shape of the boat, they actually twist. So right now what I'm trying to do is get that compound curve, and on a piece that's 24 inches long, it's just been very, very difficult. So all of the ones down midship and up forward have only been about 14 to 16 inches long for the wings, and I was able to do those in under an hour each, maybe. It's a lot of back and forth, so it takes a while, and with the press it's kind of slow. But this guy I did on the starboard side yesterday, and man, did I struggle. I spent the entire day trying to get that to fit in, but it fits in well now. I hope I learned some things from that, and I'm going to tackle the port side today, see if I can get that done faster, and maybe we can clear through these stern frames and get these floors done so that we can start working on exactly how we want to make the vertical plates so that they can hold the engine beds. I'm happy to say that this side seems to be going a lot better than yesterday. So I got this one done, got this one done, I got this one done. And this one seems to be a little strange because the frame isn't quite straight, so we'll have a little bit of overhang, but we'll dub that out and make that fit pretty well. But I think they're going pretty well. Pretty psyched about this. I'm gonna pop over to the other side and see if I can continue making these. If I can get these done, we can start working on the vertical plates.
Alright, so it's time to call it quits. So, been working all day. Got that one done, got this one done, I got that one finished, and we've got one more over here that I finished. So, tomorrow I'm going to try to finish the last three, which are these two over here, and then the side over here. And hopefully, that will let us be able to finish up these floors back here, and then we can finish designing the vertical plates. Like I keep saying, trying to get those engine mounts on there. Slow process, very, very tedious. Kind of been tough, but enjoyable work. So right now seems like a really good time to touch on something that we haven't really been able to put across in the videos, but that has been mentioned in the comments a couple of times to us. People want us to move much faster on this project, and it may not come off in the videos, but how much time it takes to film something, but also how much time it takes to do individual things on the boat. So for example, while I'm working on these wings back here, which we decided that one of us was going to be working on the wings just so that somebody could get expertise, and at the moment it was good for me to be working on them. But now that I'm working on these, it's taken me the last couple of days to really get these down. They're compound curves, they're pretty difficult, and working on a little press, it does take time. But while I'm doing that, that means that Steve needs to occupy his time doing things that don't need to be filmed. You know, we really want this to be a project with videos that have an educational value to them. They're not just us working. We really wanted to provide something that we would have found helpful when we were starting the build. So just a little side note, totally not a gripe, just kind of filling you in on how this kind of stuff works, especially, you know, for other people that are maybe trying to get into something like this. So thanks for listening.
So I hope you can hear me over the rain. We are here in the stern working on the last of the bronze floors that we need to do. So the last couple days Alex has spent bending the wings, and back here there's a lot of twist, and to support the engine some of the wings are really long, so it was a process getting those bent. But now that they're all in, what we're trying to figure out is where the engine's going to sit and where exactly the engine beds are going to be. So we're doing a bit of a mock-up. So we have a string run from the center of the shaft forward as far as the engine's going to go, and that's kind of our center line and baseline for installing the engine beds. And what we're going to do is clamp boards fore and aft in line with that string, and then we've got some longer boards that are going to basically represent our engine beds, and we're going to clamp those in place, and that'll let us pull measurements off them and see exactly how we need to cut the engine beds, how we need to shape them to fit around the frames. And once we get the wood engine beds kind of mocked up and figured out, then we can clamp those in place and start building the bronze floors around them so that everything's a really nice solid structure to support that diesel and transmit the loads from the engine into the hull. So now that we have these set up, we can pull some measurements off them, and we know that the engine beds are going to be 4 inches deep, so we just gotta shoot down a little bit, and the engine beds are going to be 3 inches wide, so you can do the same thing and shoot over and kind of get an idea of how things are going to fit. So everything we do, we're just going to measure off this top corner, and we're going to go cut some cardboard templates, and we can put them inside of these engine bed facsimiles that we made. We can really figure out exactly what the shape of the engine beds need to look like, and then we can get those roughed out of the locus, and then we can clamp them in here and just slide them outboard and start making notches and pulling patterns for where we need to cut it around the frames and that kind of thing. So next up is to go cut up a bunch of cardboard. Yeah, like we'll have to nip the corner a little bit on this, but we'll have almost full height. And then we'll get pretty good height on this one as well. And then we can butt it right into that plate between these. Yeah, I think that'll work really well.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, Chris them out.
Now we pick some locusts. I think if we can get these locusts out of the way, we can get this thing set up on the sawhorses. Or maybe we can just throw it up on the bandsaw. Just cut it.
Good.
it's clear and we can slide it over, that should be fine.
Once we were able to look at the engine beds in place, we were able to decide how we wanted to remove a bit of the material so that they would fit perfectly along the frames, and notched exactly where they rest on the sternmost bronze floor.
I gotta figure out exactly how to do this. Alright, let's see what that fits like.
You gonna be able to get it in from down there by yourself?
Maybe. It's gonna be a little bit of a struggle, but I can probably do it.
Alright, first one is shaved away and in place. Took away a little behind this area right here so that it can fit against that floor. Alright, it's almost 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, and we just finished the engine beds. So, gonna call it quits, go have some dinner, and finish up the vertical plates tomorrow.
It's another rainy day here in the Arabella boatyard. So yesterday we made some engine beds out of black locust, and today we're gonna clamp them where they need to be, and then we can start designing the bronze floors around them. So we're gonna start down at the center line and use some cardboard templates and start figuring out exactly how best to build up that bronze so that it supports the engine beds really well. And then a little bit later we'll weld all that up to it so it's nice and strong, and then we will install the engine beds down into those bronze floors so that everything's locked together really well. And then that just needs to get cleaned up in the corner there. Let's see how this one fits. I think that'll do.
Pretty tight.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have to, because there's a little bit of a bow in it, I think we'll have to kind of tack down here.
And then pound it
just
back out.
Bend that over just a little bit, but it really shouldn't be too hard to do. Put a clamp on it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, that looks awesome.
While all this was going on, we had a few volunteers around cleaning up some of Victoria's hardware. Grinding and blasting away at the corrosion brought new life to these 100-year-old pieces. Next week, we continue the work of finishing up the floors beneath the engine beds, and we'll also mill up the sole beams, which will eventually be attached to the bronze floors. And we are gladly getting closer to finishing up this metalwork, and Arabella is almost ready to receive her planking.